Sometimes in life, you get these wake up calls where you realize what you're doing today will not get you what you want in the future. Dylan did a quick trip out to Japan with the boys, did a little bit of skiing, a little bit of fun, and a bunch of masterminding, and his brain was broken. So, we're going to talk about the event, what happened, and what the heck is he doing now to have an unbroken brain. How you doing, buddy? What's going on?
I am doing well. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, doing really,
Absolutely.
really well.
Yeah, so let's set it up. So again, something you're doing, which I really admire, is a couple times a year you're getting out of the country, you're going away with friends, you're having fun, but you're also masterminding with bigger operators, right? You're getting in rooms and around other people. So set up this Japan trip, and then we'll talk about what happened once you were there. So how'd that all come together?
For sure. Yeah. It honestly came together. It was probably a year and a half in the making, maybe almost 2 years in the making. I met someone at a mastermind I paid to go to. Honestly, didn't even have really, I just started kind of having a little bit of success in real estate, decided to go to a mastermind. Didn't even really know like what a real mastermind was aside from like the Think and Grow Rich version of it that you read in the book.
Sure.
And so felt like there might be some value there. I didn't really know anyone there. So I decided to go by myself. There was about 15 of us. Two of the people there I became good friends with. One of those guys was named Dion. And very quickly, I became like a puppy dog on the trip because I just realized he was someone that was very, very, very smart. And I wanted to ask him a ton of questions. Him and I ended up forming a really good relationship. We hit it off. He flew me out to a couple of his events to speak to his community. And then he was hosting a mastermind that I went to. All that to be said, he had the idea of going to Japan and pulling together some people that we had all kind of met. His business partner, his brother, who's a $1 million wholesaler and has lots of units, a couple other guys that syndicate apartments, who are now good friends of mine too. But we're all going to go to Japan together. And again, I don't know these guys super well outside of like seeing them, intimately for, several days over the course of a year, but like I don't live near them at all.
Right.
And so we go on this trip. One of the guys I don't know, two of the guys I don't really know at all. And so all that to be said, I didn't really know what I was in store for. And truth be told, like it didn't really fully line up with my schedule at the time. We'd planned it a year before. So that's kind of how the trip was. I kind of went into it with a little bit of hesitance, but I was like, I got to trust myself here. I know that there's going to be value here and I know I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If it was just going to have fun, I would not have gone on the trip. Just to be clear, it was very intentional. I knew it'd be fun, but I knew I'd learn something too. So I went and I'm talking to the guys that are my age, so a couple of them. One was 26, the other one was 29, and then Jan, his brother, a little bit older, and then another guy's 27. And we're masterminding, talking about problems and things like that. Two of the guys syndicate apartments. Jan and his business partner buy mobile home parks, and then Jan's brother is a wholesaler, and then he'll use, he buy single family houses. That's his game. All that to be said, they're like telling me like how much their net worth is growing and like all of this, that, and the other, how much cash flow they're making and how much just overall money that they're making. And I'm literally watching them work. So I can see how hard they're working. And I was like observing my own work day, what I have to do to move the needle in my business. And it looks very different. And then I was like, okay, I'm like, you're making how much? And I'm not going to say, but they're making a lot. I'm not going to say what they're making, but they're making a lot of money.
Were they making 5x you, 10x you? What kind of X are we talking about?
Yeah, like the 26 and 29-year-old are making about 3 to 4x me.
Okay.
And then Jan and his brother are making like 5x me.
All right. And then when you were seeing them work, and you obviously know what you do, did
Yeah.
it feel like they were working 3 to 4x harder than you?
No, that was what was making me mad. That's what was making me mad. This is what was breaking my brain. Because I can rationalize, oh, you're working harder than me, you're making more money
Yeah.
than me.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? But if they're just kicking it and they're working 1/3 as hard as you, and they're making 4x, that's where the brain gets broken.
For sure. And then these guys were definitely grinders too. They would spend a little bit of the morning because we're in Japan, like they'd be up from like 4 a.m. to like 10 a.m. And then they would grind and then they would be done for the rest of the day. But they're doing very high leverage things. So all that to be said, not only are they're not thinking as deeply about active income as they are about long-term income. And so
interesting.
they're thinking about wealth, they're playing a different game, they're thinking a longer time horizon. So all that to be said, I'm starting to do the math in my head and realizing how many houses I need to wholesale and flip to make the same amount of money that they're making. And so then I'm like, okay, that's a lot. Number two, I'm either like, I have to get either really, really good at this, build a really big team that I don't really want to do, or I need to be the one doing this. It's going to take 3 times the amount of effort to do that. Right. And so it just kind of made me realize that like if I wanted to do bigger stuff, I had to kind of leverage my skills and ladder up the skills a little bit and start playing a different game and start playing at
So
least.
I want to push on that a little bit because I think you said something subtle that I think most people are going to miss. And again, I think what these guys are doing is they're playing the wealth game
Yeah,
where, you know, you were, and I would say a lot of people around you, because I know the people you know, or at least a lot of them, it was all about active income. How many people get into real estate investing the last 3, 4, 5 years? And they're like, I just want to replace my income. I want to replace my income. I want to replace my income. I do not recall any of them. And I'm trying to rack my brain right now.
yeah,
I don't know any of these quote unquote gurus that talked at all about wealth, right? I'm the only guy that's like, hey, wealth takes a decade. You do this, you do
yeah,
that. You know, so many people get into the trap of how do I replace my income? And that just that's it's a wealth and income are a different freaking game.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And by the way, to continue on what you're saying, wealth is not nearly as sexy as income.
No, it's
Like,
slow and boring.
yeah, very slow, very boring, not sexy, not Instagrammable at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's very sexy in 10 years.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
that to be said, these guys' net worth were all of them growing substantially by the month. Like,
Yeah.
and for me doing what I'm doing, I was realizing that if I keep playing the game the same way that I'm playing, it's going to take me. And it's not that I'm like trying to compare, but it just made me realize I'd be like, oh, there's a different way to look at the game that I haven't even thought of. And I
Well, you know what? You know
personally,
what? I could have told you this would have been your future. You would have grinded a little bit harder, just like everyone in your boat does,
Mhm.
and you probably would have burnt out.
Yeah,
You would have burnt out. Now, the beautiful thing about you uncovering this because of the trip to Japan is you're still living life. I'll call it very frugally, right? It doesn't
yeah,
take a lot to fund your life. So
for
if you
sure.
can keep doing that for 5 years, and then you do equity stripping, right? You build wealth, which is what we're going to get into. You're going to be light years ahead of everybody. And it's going to feel like they're sprinting and you're walking. It'll be fun for me to watch you do this. So so you get there, you uncover this, your brain breaks.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Because I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well, I think this is really good for a lot of people. I think you have to really understand what your why is, right? So as a younger kid, I thought I just really liked real estate. I think a whisper of me said maybe that's not exactly the biggest reason why I did it. Truth be told, when I hit some of my money goals, I realized that money was the driver, not that I actually loved real estate, and that I just liked getting better. I like chasing big things. But once I solved some of the money things, like a certain amount of money that I wanted to make, a rental that I wanted to buy. What happened is I put so much of my goals on a pedestal that when I reached them, I felt a little bit empty. And this is an unteachable
Mm,
lesson. This sounds very privileged of me to say, but if you guys have ever accomplished anything in your life, you probably feel, especially if you've been chasing it for a while, a little bit of a micro depression for 24 to 48 hours
oh,
after.
no doubt. Yes.
And so that was my case. And then I broke my back last year. It stopped all of my momentum. And I started realizing now that I didn't have that money driver, because I realized it wasn't solving the thing I was trying to solve for, it made me realize, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I wasn't excited to work as much anymore. I wasn't chasing as much anymore because I just wasn't doing that. So all that to be said, that's important for the context. So I am transitioning from working with my dad, doing the fix and flip thing, the wholesale thing, realizing that that wasn't for me as much anymore, at least in the same way I was playing it. Um, so I've been spending a lot of time thinking very deeply about how I can ladder up my skills, because I spent 5 years getting really good at raising money, getting really good at building relationships, getting really good at talking to sellers and negotiating deals and understanding seller finance. I'm not saying I'm a pro at it, but I spent 5 years in my 20s doing that. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, huh, okay, this is how these guys play the game. So there's another way to play the game that could be faster. And here's my skills that I'm really, really good at. These guys aren't spending that much more energy and sometimes spending less energy than what I'm doing to spend on these little deals. What if I found a way to start doing bigger deals? So then I start thinking to myself, and this is where the thought experiments are really good for people, really understanding your why. For me, I'll tell you guys this, I'm being very genuine. Money is a side effect of what I do. I'm not
Mm,
focused on money. I like getting better and I like chasing really big shit. That's the truth. If I don't have something that I'm chasing, I'm not excited to work. I work in
mm,
sprints. I don't respond well to suffering all of the time. I've done that most of my early 20s. You should be paying your dues. You should be putting in the work. I 100% agree that, but it doesn't have to feel like suffering. And so find out what your why is, and that'll drive you. So all that to be said, my driver is doing big stuff and growing as a person. I need to be challenged.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? So I start asking myself better questions. Well, I want to play the game that they're playing. Okay. Well, shit. How am I going to do that? That's the first question. Well, I need probably a lot of liquidity. Okay. Well, then if I go to a bank, well, then if I need a lot of liquidity, it's because I'm going to a bank. Okay. Well, then I can get seller financing. That's an option. I won't need as much liquidity, but I'm still probably going to need a down payment. I'm going to need rehab money. Okay. Well, liquidity is still a problem there. Okay. Well, then if I go to a bank, what's the bank going to ask for? They're going to ask for experience. They're probably going to ask for some type of collateral and still liquidity. So then I'm like, gosh, I don't have any of that. I have no business playing in this game. I have no business, right? I bought a 16 unit, but like a bank's needs more than just a 16 unit, you know?
Mm.
And so, and I want to buy 50 units plus. So again, there's a problem. And I could stop there, right? Guys, like this is the important part. Like I could stop there because it's not possible. But I believe that it is because I know people that have done it. So like that's all I needed. I'm like, I'm not trying to invent Wi-Fi here. I'm just trying to keep something that's already been done. And so then I think to myself, well, then there's got to be people that want to do big things too. So the reality is I need to go find people with the cheat codes. I can either go work my way up to find all the liquidity to get all the experience by myself, or I can move faster with someone else. And again, I'm 25, I'll be 26 soon. I don't like time is on my side. And I would much rather spend my 20s learning than earning. But because of my skills, I can find a way to kind of bridge the gap together. So I start pitching myself into rooms with people that have the thing that I'm looking for, all the cheat codes, the money, so the capital, the experience, and the collateral, and the resources, right? The things that I don't have because they're decades into the game. But here's the thing that they don't have. They don't have a deal junkie. They don't have someone that's really good at finding deals and really good at negotiating deals. And so this is the thing that I'm realizing. It's just like raising money. I'm not selling the deal. I'm not selling, more money to them is not the biggest driver for them. They want to be partnered with people that make them dream and make them feel alive. So I'm the product. And so I just started pitching me. I started pitching my vision and the things that make me excited, the things that about me being vulnerable. And I essentially am now pitching a way for me to get into apartment deals with no money, no resources. So I'm essentially, my goal, and this is still theory until we get 0 to 1. That's the only goal, find 0 to 1 right now. But right now I'm digging the well, building relationships with investors that want to do bigger stuff, leveraging their resources, their capital, their experiences, while I go connect them with the deals and my pitches. In exchange for that, I want a broker's fee, a finder's fee for finding the deal on the front end. And I would like to be a minority owner so I can learn and be a part of the deal too.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that because now I'm helping them add multiple ends to their net worth and more cash flow. And if I get really good at structuring good deals, they're going to want to do more deals with me. And so right now the case is talk to as many people that are doing the thing that I want to be doing to figure out how to go 0 to 1 so I can strip out all the noise, develop really good relationships, tell people what I want to do so I can dig the well with capital partners and experienced partners. And then I go bridge that gap. I go partner with savvy investors that know the thing, been there, done that, and I bring them more deals. And so that's what I'm doing. And every person I pitch with has been to has said yes. And so that all comes from hanging out with people that are playing the game a little bit differently, getting a little bit mad, realizing how I was playing the game, and then asking myself better questions and getting better answers, and then learning how to play by different rules because life is a game. We can find cheat codes. And these are my example cheat codes. So
it's really funny because, again, I've seen lots of people over the years. I've been talking real estate for almost 3 decades now. And I can probably count on one hand the number of people who got in the game, did the work, had success like you had, right? You and your dad, right? You eventually figured it out. And then had the balls to go, I'm going to stop doing what's working, go learn something else because I think there's a bigger, better, whatever hill to climb. That's pretty unique. And I just want to encourage you to keep going because you're onto something. And I think one of the advantages obviously you have is you're young and you don't have financial responsibilities for a wife and kids and, all of that, which would make it harder. So I would just tell you to just go 100 miles an hour. Just keep going.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And And 100 miles an hour can look differently too. Like
Sure.
if you're working on the right things, if you're working on this is what I'm learning is if you're having high impact, like leveraged, like meetings and things that you're doing, you can move very, very fast. Or you could spend your time doing a lot of very unproductive things, which is what I was doing. Like I've worked less hard in the last probably 3 to 4 weeks, and I've worked probably in the previous 4 months, but I've gotten the same amount, if not more, probably more done because I'm
Nice.
thinking about things differently. And it all starts from like, how am I going to get to my goal fastest, and being very intentional about your time, like to the point where like, what's actually going to move the needle here? And that's not something that I was doing
Yeah.
because I was stuck on the hamster wheel. I was just automatically doing the thing because like, this is what I do. And like, so I appreciate that. And I'm very excited. And the thing that I really want people to understand is like, this is what's crazy, and I really want the audience to know this. I'll be speaking about this a little bit in the talk in Vegas, but FaceTime exists, like self-driving cars exist. We're not trying to invent that. Like those things didn't
Right.
exist. Like they do now, and we accept them. Like that's awesome. We appreciate it. But I can't explain those things. Like you buying a rental, like might in your brain, because no one around you does it, might seem impossible. But FaceTime exists, guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're watching the
Yeah.
podcast right now, like this exists. I can explain that. You buying a rental makes sense to my brain. You can do
Yeah.
that. And honestly, you're probably thinking too small, but you just start off with that rental, get that break that belief for you first, then hang out with more people that also bought a rental, but then you hang out with a couple more that bought maybe 5 to 10, and then you continue to break your brain and your frame, and then you're just going to continue growing. But like it's not impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
delusional enough to believe that it's possible, it is. You kind of have to be a little crazy.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I developed our school community, was to get, right now we're up to 525, I think, everyday wealth builders. Everybody's doing different things at different rates. Everybody has different experiences. But yeah, you got to get in the right rooms with people really doing it. And that's what I see you doing with this Japan trip as an example. But yeah, you can get in rooms with people doing it versus just people talking, right? And
Yeah,
there's a big difference between talkers and action takers.
1000%. And no is very important to know the difference. I will say, guys, if you meet someone and you admire their success and you say to yourself, I want an element of what they have, I don't think you should try to be them. But if you want an element of what they have, some type of material success that they have, lifestyle success that they've had, the easiest way for you to never talk to that person again or them to not give your time is to not take action on the things that they say. If you take
Exactly.
and if you take an obscene amount of action on the things that they said, and the next time you see them, you tell them, hey, by the way, you told me this one thing. Like, I know you probably didn't think about it, but like I did X, Y, Z. They're going to give you more time.
They're going to give you more time. Absolutely
Winners
right.
hang out with winners.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, I look for you kicking off day 2 of our Vegas event. It's right around the corner, almost 2 weeks away. Where can people find you?
Yeah. Primarily Instagram, Dillionaire321.
Right there on the screen.
Right there on the screen. Yes,
I'm
sir.
curious, anybody from the channel ever reach out, send you a DM, say thank you for being here?
Yeah, I've had quite a few. In fact, I had one last week, and
That's
I was
nice.
telling them about the event. So,
Nice.
anyone that's watching, we'd love to see you guys at the event. There's gonna be a lot of good speakers. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm super excited to meet all of you guys in person too.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Take care. We'll see you in a few weeks.
See you in a few.